Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nara and here we're discussing astrology, spirituality, psychology, actually psychological astrology. We are going to talk today about the ascendant, the rising sign, and Mars through the houses. So the rising sign is your first house, right? That's your starting point of your entire chart, and you start reading your houses from the rising sign. So the first house is pretty much your appearance, is how you present yourself in the world, the mask you wear when you meet other people, and the lens through which other people perceive you. That's not the only thing. If you haven't checked my other video about the rising sign, please go ahead and do so. Talk about the importance of the rising sign and what differentiates the rising sign from the sun sign. So the rising sign is determined by the time you were born, right? So the sign that was rising on the eastern horizon determines your rising sign, and it's the path to your sun sign development, the development of your ego and what separates you from the collective, your uniqueness, individuality, right? We get to our sun sign through the path that we follow, which is predetermined kind of thing by our rising sign, right? So the first house is me and the seventh house is other people. So the first house belongs to the sign of Aries and it is ruled by Mars. So it's a fire sign, the very first, the tropical zodiac, right? And it rules Mars. You may not have, Aries or Mars in the first house. You don't have to, to have a good rising sign and make the most of it. What's about the rising sign is that it's pretty much embodies you with energies of that time, of the time that you were born. And it creates that perception through which you filter situations and circumstances in your life and what kind of people you are more likely to attract. So determined by a rising sign, because we got to look at the seventh house, and seventh house is other people. So this is out, okay, out of the way. Mars is very aggressive. Mars, the aggressive part in us. It's also the assertion, the qualities of us being assertive, the qualities of being go-getter, being fast, very fiery, passionate in your expression, and also confident, right? It's knowing what you want, going after it, like an Aries. Not necessarily, which is the opposite of Libra, like going after what you want without asking other people or, even consulting other people. Like Aries just goes and gets it. Sometimes they cross other people's boundaries. Well, actually a lot of the times. And you may have that too, this quality, right? Depending on where you have Aries. House still carries those energies of Aries, right? Because the Mars is like argumentative in us, is the aggression in us. And looking at your Mars position will also connect you to the first house. So let's say you have Mars in the ninth house. So the connection between the ninth house and the first house, which is your, appearance, how you look, how you're being perceived, is going to be changing because of the ninth house. And the ninth house is going to influence your first house, your appearance, how you think, how you perceive the world. So I have Mars in the ninth house. My identity has changed constantly because the first house is in cardinal, which is in Libra. I'm a Libra rising. So it would constantly change how I perceive the world and also how I looked. So yeah. But if you have Aries or Mars in the first house, what would it mean for you? Mythically, Aries sprang fully grown, okay? And he was born out of fury, right? Furious and aggression. That's why Mars represents the aggressive part of us. Outrage. So Hera, right? Hera was a mother of Aries. She gave birth to Aries based on the fury and the argument she had. Yeah, so that's why it has that connotation, the sign of Aries. And Mars was actually very respected, more than Aries. Aries was a little like a thief, he would go and sleep with Aphrodite and get caught by her husband and would go to jail. So he would cross other people's boundaries just based on the passions he had. So you may be in the first house, you may have this constant need to prove your power, and also be argumentative if someone is crossing your boundaries or telling you how to live your life. Have this duality to you if you have Mars or Aries in the first house, where you are sometimes like an Aries, like impulsive, overbearing even, like creating problems for other people because of your passions and interests on this. But Aries won't think about whether this belongs to someone else. It will just go and get it. And that is the problem. Like in the mythical story with Aphrodite, he loved Aphrodite, Venus, but she was married and he went and just slept with her, and then he got caught. So he crossed the boundaries of her husband, that side which is impulsive, doing things on passion, on that fire. But there's also another side of Aries, which is Mars. In the first house, it would mean you are more assertive, confident, not necessarily that thief and impulsive side. The Mars was well respected as god, and he was actually bigger and more respected than Jupiter god, very prominent in the mythical stories, right, in astrology. So you may have that Mars side which creates that respect around you because you are very thoughtful of yourself and other people. Aries with those qualities as well. So which aspect of personality in your first house, if you have Aries in the first, are you relying the most? Is it the Aries or Mars side of you? And if you have like Mars and Cancer in the first house, it is still pretty prominent because it creates that aura of respect, of power. Whenever you enter a certain setting, environment, the presence of people who have Mars in the first house is very felt by your environment. So obviously, if neither of the things that I mentioned resonate with you, I do suggest you looking at your aspects. If you have badly aspected Mars, will pretty much define the limitations and the impingement you get from other people or other obstacles that limit your expression of Mars. But they can be very blunt and rude sometimes, which is, one aspect of Aries. And then the other aspect of Aries, which is Mars, may be a very good quality to have, which is self-directed, knowing what they want, going after what they want. And yeah, I absolutely love people who have Mars in the first house. They are go-getters, but there's also some people I met who sabotage that side of themselves. Because why? Because it's not easy to express themselves because there's other planets involved. And when you have planets in the first house badly aspected with other planets, that will indicate other planets will indicate other people, and other people will be kind of placing obstacles and limitations onto your self-expression. Definitely let me know, guys, in the comment section what do you guys think about this interpretation of my first house in Aries or Mars. It's a great placement. I absolutely love this sign of Aries, one of my favorite signs. And my hubby has a first house in Aries, but it was not always easy for him to express the qualities of that sign. I hope this resonates. Okay, let's talk about what happens when you have Mars or Aries in the second house. So the second house naturally belongs to the sign of Taurus, is ruled by Venus. So Venus is a more wants to relax, wants to enjoy pleasures of sensual nature, physical indulgence, and the second house is also your material possessions, how you make money, your resources on a material level. The second sign right after Aries. So what does it mean? When you have Aries energy, which is assertiveness, impulsiveness, passionate, go-getterness, going after what you want, being expressive, not holding back from what you want and going after it, knowing, defining fate for oneself. This shows that in the financial area, you want to be independent, you want to be more decisive. That's where you are applying the energies of Aries and the planet Mars. Aries is the aggression, the aggressive aspect in us. It doesn't necessarily have to be bad aggression, right? I mean, healthy aggression is good because Aries energy is that you want to take care of yourself by yourself, you know what you want, and you don't need other people's opinions. You're decisive about it. You're building your own destiny. You don't want anyone to get involved in your money matters, right? Material possessions. That's where the aggression is. However, it also can be abrupt, make abrupt decisions and actions. Take risks in the financial area impulsively, sometimes not thinking through, because it's a fast energy, it's a fiery energy, it's oriented towards action taking, right? Passion that comes in a second and already defines our behavior and what we're going to do in the next moment, kind of thing. So that's what Mars in the second house does. So they know what they want and they want to go after it, right? Start an initiative. Take action towards something that they are passionate about. And here, maybe business ideas, opening business. Also, it can be using business of sports business. Either your physical body is somehow involved. Maybe you're an athlete. Because also, second house is the Taurus house. Taurus represents neck, but not only that, sensual, right? It's our physical body, the second house. And we know that Taurus has this strong connection with their body, aware of what they like and what they dislike, how they feel each and every moment, which allows them to make decisions. But imagine having this quality and then adding Mars quality, which is impulsive, passionate, action taker. So whenever you feel like your body doesn't feel comfortable, you're going to change something, because Aries and Mars is a cardinal energy. Cardinal, they are constantly changing. Okay, they like to change. The qualities of being courageous and being confident in what they want and how to go and get. If Mars or Aries in the second is not aspected well, it's going to be difficult to express these energies. May do the jobs that require these qualities of being courageous and being that confident in yourself, because being weak and indecisive in the careers that you potentially choose to profess in require these qualities of Aries, so you'll have to develop them. But yeah, I hope this resonates. Let's talk about Mars or Aries in the third house. So what is third house? Third house is a house of Gemini, Mercury, right? So what is Mercury? Learning, the studying that we do when we grow up. It's not the higher education, it's the higher education, what you've learned after your second house, because we always start with the first house. It's like we become aware of who we are, then later we at like 5 6 we become aware of having material possessions, right? And what our toy is and what's not ours. Like we are able to separate, because second house is Taurus, is like, what do I have? The opposite of which is the 8th house of other people's resources. So Taurus is a little selfish and possessive, right, over what they own. Third house is when we start to learn about, other people, it's siblings, learning, school, writing, teaching, automobile, transportation. It represents the mind and how your mind works. So looking at the qualities, if you have Aries or Mars in this house, in the third house, so where you become aware of other people and the dealings with other people, is also actually buying and selling, to speak like on a practical level. You may be selling goods and services, and using transportation or helping people to improve their goods or services. But Mars represents aggression, so that shows that it will be either unexpressed emotions and thoughts that will be making you go crazy in your behavior. You lash out, be suppressing how you really feel about people or what you really think, and not tell them straight up. So this suppression is turning into internal anger and destruction, because Aries, this is self-destructive, is known to be a more like mind and mental, side of the third house. And this placement would indicate having a beautiful vocabulary, knowing how to articulate your thoughts, like learning constantly like hungry for knowledge. You may be researching a subject all the time, or reading about it, reading books, learning different subjects, I don't know. It also actually shows that you're very sharp-minded. You are argumentative in a way. This placement, it's very important not to hide how you really feel and think, but you're hesitating. Maybe you have Libra placements, right? If you can't let them know that you don't like something that's going on, you letting it to continue and then turn into a crisis, that's when you start to get into arguments with people. And also a sibling who was argumentative, or you yourself were. This shows that you're very interested in a subject, maybe writing, reading, teaching, something that you're very, very passionate about. And you may be having a lot of journals, writing a lot about your thoughts, and you may be actually confusing to yourself and not able to really understand what's going on in your mind, because Aries is like a little and scattered energy of that Mercury. Addition to the Mars or Aries, we have Mercury, which is the third house. It's like scattered energies. Yeah, we have thoughts, genius thoughts, but we can't make sense of them sometimes, or connect them and implement them, so that's where we can see that happening. Maybe writing letters angrily, or in the internet, leaving bad comments, or speaking your truth, or being way too blunt, and people may take it the wrong way, aggressive. And by the way, these tendencies of aggression and putting it into words, expressing yourself, but if badly aspected, the expression of your thoughts will be difficult too. So be aware of that. If you don't make sense of this, then realize that aspects from your third house of Mars or Aries will define whether you can express these qualities well or not, right? Or whether you're limited. You may be taking stuff, closely to heart, to be very obsessed with a certain subject and care about it way too much, to a point of starting arguments and debates with other people, or writing angry comments, letters. And these tendencies are coming from childhood, by the way. They're coming from the sibling experiences with siblings, arguments with neighbors. This is the third house. If you're doing any healing, that's where it's coming from. They're like very restless in their brain because it's the third house. Also, these people have a more powers in terms of manifesting because their thoughts create our reality, right? Third house is our thoughts. It's the mental, it's our mind. That's why we hear the thoughts create your reality, because they create an attitude, a filter through which you view the world, right? Mars is the action. We also hear that just wishing, by wishing it's not gonna happen, that we need to actually take action, change our routine, restructure our life in order for it to work for us better. Mars in the third house, or Aries in the third house, is exactly that. So these people have this ability to manifest intentionally or unintentionally, and for them it's just like more emphasized because they act on what they think faster, and since it's fiery, that passionate, it's just like the outburst of that energy projects onto the world, and it attracts whatever was projected pretty fast, like full force. For us to manifest something, we need to produce a clear energy. Yeah, be careful with this placement of how you think and what actions you take on your thoughts. Yeah, the decisions you make based on your thinking. I really think for you it's important to do the meditative practices, because it's like, or doing something with your body. Mars represents your body. So yeah, I really hope this resonates. And let's talk about the fourth house. What if you have Aries or Mars in the fourth house? Fourth house is the house of Cancer. It's moon. Even though it's feminine energy, moon represents mother, but the fourth house itself is our foundation, the ancestors, and where we come from. House represents father in that case, if we're looking at it from mother-father perspective, whereas the 10th house would be mother. Fourth house's foundation is like when you become aware of where you come from, right? Your family, that point in your life when you grow up. So, and what separates you, your family, from other families, right? Because you observed other people. From the father perspective, you may see your father as controlling, like a very dominant and powerful figure in your life that may have limited your expression of ability to assert yourself, develop your own way, your own destiny, your own life. Maybe they were getting in like obstacles coming from your father figure to create your own belief, about tradition, about home and family. Maybe you were restricted in that area, but this is the biggest need of this placement, is to find that, when I will get out of this. I don't want to be influenced by where I grew up and who I grew up with. What are the things that I acquired from my siblings and the tendencies? I want to let it go, and I want to start fresh with family. And there should be that self-directedness, but I feel like the family stuff is getting in the way, attracting the beliefs that were working maybe for your family or not, but they won't work for you. You need to develop your own belief and tradition about home and family, and how you see your home and family based on what you had and didn't have. Like, that's what Aries and Mars in the fourth house wants control over their life, pretty much. And the foundation, the roots, maybe keeping you from doing that. Now, from another perspective, right, it represents emotions to some degree, the fourth house, because it does have energies of the moon, manifesting in you having repressed feelings, because these people do have that. And if your feelings are not expressed, then you may really blow up. And the things that are going on inside of you, in your mind, it's kind of crazy, right? And you may be ashamed of that and embarrassed, but eventually you will learn how to accept all of your shortcomings and whatever is happening inside of your head, breaking free and being rebellious and more decisive in your destiny, different from parents. Okay, let's talk about people who have Mars or Aries in the fifth house. Naturally belongs to the sign of Leo. It's the house of play, romance, creative pursuits, having fun. Mars is a fire sign. Mars rules fire sign, right? And Mars is a fiery planet. Being in Leo is like competition in love, because Mars is very competitive, and you may be very competitive in the love area of your life. Constantly be with someone, having fun, being out there. Here's the thing with Mars in this house, maybe very egotistical person, maybe someone who is so proud of their abilities that they may disregard other people. So it's creating that pride in oneself. May not be always a good thing, because you may give a very bad impression and lose fans. That's the main trait of Leo. Yeah, they'll create community, but then they will also fall in that community. They'll take a fall because of their ego. Having Mars and Leo qualities of the fifth house, imagine a lot of ego, and pride in what you do, and even love affairs that you have, in terms of creative pursuits and talents. You may be expressing it in a fiery way. Niches, of your creative expression might be related to that fire, body, sports, job. Like creative pursuits are the extension of your physical body, kind of thing, like you use your body in those things. Like maybe you're an actor, maybe you're a dancer. Look at it from a children's perspective, right? Because fifth house represents children. It's joy, happiness that comes from children. They may be very quick to want children and have children, but only after the fact, after they have children and live with children, experience all of the things that come with it, they realize that it was too early, because they want to have fun. Remember, fifth house is fun times. So Mars in the fifth wants to have fun constantly. And if they make that decision to have children early, but they're not ready, they will realize that be suppressed in having fun, because they won't have time to have fun, right? They won't have time because of the children, because you need to take care of them. So that's where the reality may hit them, but they really love children, and they start romance all the time with someone. Like they may be that Don Juan, being around and constantly being in relationships or dating other people. It's a good placement for creativity, for expressing your creative abilities and what you love to do. Your hobby, if you have Mars here, is like your confidence is allowing you to get material rewards from what you love to do. Let's talk about Mars or Aries in the sixth house. So sixth house is a Virgo house. It's a mental house. It's work, co-workers, routine, health, body, right? So Mars also represents physical body. Also the homework, the housework, all the work projects that you do and have. And also, so Mars and Aries pretty much defines how, like, the energy with which you do those things, that's what it represents. So we know that Mars and Aries is the aggression, is the assertive side of ourselves, confident, self-directed, knowing what you want, going after what you want. You apply these qualities in the sixth house, in your routine. So you feel accomplished when you do things, which is great on a more routine, practical level. And actually mastering that area is very important, because mastering that area will give you that sense of Aries Mars qualities, which is confidence, right? Like we need confidence for pretty much everything in life. If you don't have confidence, you will sabotage your talents. It's not about having talents, it's about being confident. With the sixth house, my caution for you would be not to take your anger out on your body, because Mars is, physical body, and sixth house is also physical body. Your routine may be destructive for your body, which come from anger issues, like something that is annoying in your life and it creates that anger. If you can't speak up, which Mars and Aries in a house does represent, having this placement not only in this house but in general, Aries and Mars in a particular house means that we're not always able to channel, use these energies of being assertive and confident. It can be quite the opposite for a lot of people. It can be that you are suppressing how you feel and not expressing yourself. So in the sixth, if you don't express yourself, you'll be taking it out on your body. And here we have also argumentativeness in workplace, so with coworkers, competition, because remember Mars is a competition, Aries is a competition, and wherever it's placed, we're competing there with someone in a particular area of our life. So here it's your coworkers and just people you're connected to practically, even around the house, because routine and whatever you do at home, like cleaning, right, that's part of routine. People you live with can also, sixth house can represent, it's not only work, because it's a part of your routine, meaning not people necessarily, but you come in contact with them, right, when you're doing your routine stuff. So you may be getting angry and lashing out at other people, or using cleaning as a way to let go of your anger, like let it out, which is a great thing to do. Actually, more importantly, it shows the impulsive nature and the doing things around the house and routine, and it does make you happy. It makes you feel accomplished. It makes you feel, or not only the house, just in practical stuff, running errands, doing things, it makes you happy. It makes you feel accomplished. It gives you confidence. So that's a good thing. It's very quick. You may be getting shit done pretty fast and not doing it properly sometimes, which can be a problem because Mars is impulsive. But in the sixth house also, it's your mind, so your thoughts may be of aggressive nature. It's Virgo degree, whatever you have especially, will add more interpretation, but it's a challenging one because there's a connection with the body. And be careful of your thoughts, because your thoughts can manifest in your body and you will be very self-destructive. And we know that aggression doesn't lead us to feeling good about ourselves. So yeah, I really hope this resonates. What if you have Mars or Aries in the seventh house? Seventh house belongs to the sign of Libra. It's ruled by Venus. Marriage, partnerships, long-term, other people, right? And the tendencies, the inclinations that we have when we are in partnerships. This placement would be you're arguing with your partners, right? Or other people. Also, the partners you are likely to attract, because Mars represents sex. It represents love as well as Venus. So here you may be either rushing into relationships after having a sexual encounter, because Mars represents sex, and having in the seventh house, you get a taste of it and you may be falling for people and wanting to start a family even. So that's possible. Or you may be attracted to people who have these qualities, who have Mars qualities. And remember, Mars is aggression in us, the masculine part of us. But aggression doesn't mean a bad thing. Aggression can be healthy. Do need healthy aggression, because if we don't display how we really feel and put a stop to it, other people can take it too far. So that's where we need to have that healthy aggression that can balance things out. People you may be attracted to may carry the qualities of Aries or Mars. They may be very bossy, confident, independent. Even though there's such an instant attraction with the people you meet, especially if you had sex with them, that's when it really gets formed, right? The feelings and all these desires. So if you really meet someone who is displaying the qualities of Mars, you will be more likely to attracted to them, but wanting your partner to have these qualities. The problem with that is that after a while you may get tired of it. You understand that it's just excessive, redundant. I don't want to deal with it, and it wears off, and it becomes really, maybe your partner was pushing it too far. Not that being bossy and independent and whatever is not good, and you may like these qualities in a partner, but at the same time makes you distant from them and not be attracted to them like that anymore. It's the energy with which they do this, okay? Because if you don't take shit too far, it's if you balance it out early, it's gonna be fine, trust me. But here's you may be attracting partners who are controlling with Mars, and actually this indicates that the reason why you may be attracting these partners is because you are yourself lacking these qualities, okay? So it always represents whatever we have in the seventh house, and I have seventh house in Aries. It's also one of the, we're very aggressive, honestly, and we may suppress that aggression by not talking or letting people know where they stand with us, which may be a problem, me as from my personal experience, which is the seventh house. So, Mars is like very passionate, but remember it's the first house, the opposite of the seventh, so it's in fall, right? Seventh house having Mars is in fall, because Mars is me, whereas seventh house is them, other people. Wanting to remain independent from partnerships, instead of getting in partnerships, getting married, and going all in, and then it starts to suffocate you. It starts to go against your independence, right? Because remember that Mars wants you to remain independent. You need to have this agreement with a person you're with that you want independence. Actually, both of you need independence. You need someone who will allow you that. You should allow other people to have independence, because if you don't, then you're not playing by the game of laws of nature. You are wanting independence but want to control another person, it's not going to work. So yeah, I really hope this helps. Mars in the 8th house. 8th house is a Pluto, Scorpio, death, rebirth, transformation, psychological, death, money, other people, resources, banks, taxes, investments, dark shit in our life. So having Mars there, it's exalted, because Mars traditionally belongs to this house, to the 8th. You may be very giving to other people of what you have, and also be a risk taker in your investments and the resources using debt. The problem with this, that the impulsive decisions that you may be making, taking risks is cool, but they may be impulsive, all of those decisions, and you may regret them later. Mars is also like how we think, right? And because it's our head, it represents our head, it's Aries. You need people who understand you and who are like-minded, because you may not share a lot of ideas with other people and how you think, and actually criticize them for that. It's very possible and argue, because that's Mars, that's the aggression. These people may see other people's resources as more attractive to them, and wanting to get a piece of their pie. People's resources may be more attractive to you and like promising more in life, and also like wanting to be with partners who have the status or money, their resources being attracted to them. Sometimes it also shows that getting married and getting into partnerships in business with other people, just because of that, even in love, manipulation. Now the Mars in the 8th is very impulsive in terms of like taking risks, caring about their body, because 8th house is death. They can be, and Mars is our body, it can be very self-destructive, so be careful with that. Okay, so that's the 8th house, right? So other people, you may be taking risks with other people in the financial area, investments, crypto, being part of those things, schemes. The only thing, don't be impulsive, at least give it a thought or two before you take actions on your investments, because you may be very impulsive. You may have this like physical tension in yourself that may be bothering you, and having this fight or flight on a constant basis. So be aware, because its emotions may be of intense nature. And the mind-body connection is a strong one. Psychosomatic disorders have more planets here than just Mars. Add more and even change the interpretation of this house and this placement. It's important for you're relieving that built-up aggression and energy body through doing some physical exercise. Now, the 8th house is also sex, right? And Mars also represents sex. So you may be attracted to people who are like confident in themselves, erotic people of Scorpio, Pluto energy, and needing a lot of that stuff too. So you may have emotions of very dark nature. 8th house, very intense, emotionally speaking. So it's important to understand your emotions, feel your emotions. Don't criticize yourself. Don't necessarily be impulsive and take action on your emotions, but try to feel them and be present in your body instead of being impulsive and taking it out on yourself. So the more you accept the darkness of your emotions, the better it is for you. So you may be interested in esoteric and occult knowledge, immersing yourself completely, because Mars is also head and how we think. So maybe very, very like a fighter, fighting for what you believe in. And it's also having a detective mind, although Mars is more impulsive and doesn't really care about the details. It's like they only understand later on the details and look at them. But first they just go and grab it and do whatever they got to do. But having it in the eighth house is detective side of us. It's Scorpio, and if you're interested in a topic in the eighth house, it would be occult, spirituality, astrology, numerology, psychic stuff, tarot. It can be psychiatrists, psychologists, healers, all of that stuff. You may be very detail oriented in that area, but not about everything. Let's move to the ninth house. Mars in the ninth house. This is a really good placement for Mars to be. That's my placement, because I even forgot that I had this placement before I said Mars in the ninth. I have it. A good placement to have, because the ninth house is the Sagittarian house, fire sign, foreign travels, higher education, philosophy, thought. When I think of the ninth house in terms of philosophy, I get a picture of Renaissance immediately, because that's when the thought of the humankind and the direction in which we'll go was constructed. Because before that, we did not have anything to rely on, right? There's a lot of thinkers, and some produced, a certain approach based on what they've observed. Again, observation based, right? Not the real science. But we'll live like that. See, that's my Mars in the ninth. The thing is that that's what comes to mind. That's the kind of philosophy. Higher education is master's, undergraduate degree. It's the opposite of the third. The third house is primary school, right? Learning how to talk, learning how to communicate. It's a more simple. Whereas in the ninth house, we're niching down in what we love, okay? And we're going full into philosophies of higher truths that are not necessarily coming from you, your parents, okay? It's higher truths. The ninth house. And then foreign travels. Why is it a good placement? Just the same with the fifth house. When you have Mars in the fifth, the house of Leo, it's a fire sign. It's going to feel confident there. That's why it's a good thing to have. Although, like we have with all Mars placements, Mars sometimes, if badly aspected and if the childhood, was suppressed, will result and manifest in you suppressing your feelings and not speaking up. So even though you may have it in the fire sign, it does add a little bit of easiness. Now, the ninth house, let me just narrow it down. The actual meanings, right? Not just the elements in terms of elements. So Mars is a fighter. That's the assertive part in us that we want to, show to the world. Here I am, look at me. That's Mars, that's Aries. Its ninth house is foreign travel, so you may be attracted to foreign partners and be very eager to travel. I see not only me, a lot of people who have, especially Mars, in the ninth house, they traveled since childhood. So it does show that, and it's foreign lands and being addicted in a way and passionate about foreign cultures. Learning about foreign traditions and cultures and philosophies somehow changes how you see the world, helps you with expressing yourself better. With the Mars in the ninth, it's these people learn about what they love, looking at that, the sign, the archetype in the ninth house, ruler, finding that ruler in your chart will define what things you're more likely to learn about. Mine is in this seventh, relationships. I really wanted to understand how relationship works, right? And I had this natural inclination, I didn't even decide on doing that, going towards that direction and noticing things that people never noticed, how dynamics change. You may have it in the, fourth house. You may be concerned about foundation, tradition, family, home, family, real estate, lineage. And you may be wanting to study all about that, the higher education, and profess in those areas. Now, the ninth house, they only learn a few things that they feel that passionate about, and they will fucking debate over all those things, and fight. These are great debaters in school, especially of higher education. They can be teachers, philosophers, writers, speakers, public speakers. But here's the thing, what they speak about is only a few subjects that they really are passionate about. They don't care about a lot of things. These people only care about a few things. And if you disagree with them, they will fight you. And not only fight you if you disagree, but you don't have a better idea then why are you even speaking up, kind of thing. So that's my interpretation, because I know my placement. I'm very argumentative. Intellectually, the ninth house to starts an argument with people who don't have a clear vision of themselves and life, philosophy. They really care about their consciousness, these people, and they love to study. They are good teachers, but the problem is that they try to impose their truth on other people, and I had to work on that as well. So we're not responsive, to what I was discovering and researching by myself, which was pretty exciting for me. We just did not understand, which I again understood that these people were just not on my level mentally, intellectually speaking, and they were not maybe interested in what I was interested in. But for me, it's like it just makes up our life experiences, and how can you not be interested? Because I love the higher consciousness, right? So that's where that argue, this placement people argue because of their values and beliefs. And just to add on to the 8th house, it also shows the arguments with in-laws. Will be mother in the 8th house, but people who have Mars in the 8th house, it would show in-laws, because it's Scorpio, it's the 8th house, other people and getting married and the shared resources, right? So there may be arguments over shared resources, problems with family members of your spouse. When it comes to the 9th house, Mars in the 9th house actually represents you having maybe arguments, because Mars is always arguments, but 9th house represents in-law, female figure, and maybe communication problems, because 9th house is communication, difference in beliefs and religion, right? Philosophy, from which they may get into an argument. So the 3rd house, there's a connection, right? And the siblings may be involved as well. Gossips, they may be gossiping behind your back, because I've experienced all of that, but I'm saying it because books mention this too. It's crazy, you know what I mean? And it would be like gossips about who you are. And Mars in the 9th house also represents foreign lands. It shows that you may be traveling a lot, or working for a foreign company and meeting your partner, your specific person that way. It may be a foreigner. So for me, that is the case, definitely. To the 10th house, if you have Aries or Mars in the 10th house, the 10th house belongs to the sign of Capricorn, Saturn, and this energy shows that you're very confident and assertive, knowing what you want, straightforward, passionate about what you do, and you apply these characteristics, qualities in your 10th house of public image, career. So first of all, it shows that you're very confident in what you do and you have all that it takes. But if it's badly aspected, that will imply the opposite. So you need to be seen as that. You need to be seen as powerful, perceived as that force to be reckoned with, and that's what gives you that ability to be reassured in yourself, in going after what you want. Even though you may not experience and see immediate results, that reassurance of being seen and being perceived as powerful gives you that belief in yourself, right? And you do things that require you to put yourself out there, and it's a little bit also dangerous, like a risk taker. The problem with this can be that you may be way too aggressive in climbing up the ladder and disregarding other people, which also shows in Nixon's team. One of them had Mars in the 10th house. It was the communication guy, right? So he was ruthless. So he was ruthless in the way how to get power and be seen as powerful by getting involved in the Watergate. You understand? So they risk, they don't care how they're going to get there. So involving themselves into something like that, he'll advance you. That's how he thought, and eventually, nothing happened. 10th house represents the mother. The 4th house represents the father, the foundation. House of mother, perception that we had of our mother is our 10th house, to be more accurate. So the perception, or how she made us feel, okay? So in this case, it shows that mother may have been perceived, when you were a kid, you perceived her as very powerful, very confident. She might have been argumentative and also trying to direct your life and tell you how to live your life. It can be shown in your approach in life. So you may not even get along with your mother, or instead you may be very influenced, inspired even by your mother's courageous side and how you've perceived her. And this allows you to be assertive in the career in the public organizations, wherever you work, because 10th house energy is a boss energy, and having Mars there is like very amplified. It's exalted, right? It's an exalted house. It feels comfortable to express itself fully, confidently. But the problem is whether you have bad aspects, not maybe the case. You may need to work for these qualities. But it does represent that mother may have been that aggressive and argue with you a lot, which you project that picture of mother, image of mother onto your work and career. All of the motivation that you have to succeed in the 10th house comes from the problems you had with mother, as if you're trying to prove a point. Later in life, also, these people may try to pay their mother back, and reverse the roles, change their mother's mind and belief system and how they think, or stop interfering with their life. Or bosses, because 10th house is also bosses. It's a Capricorn energy. You may be argumentative towards your bosses or have arguments with them. Yeah. So that's that. I hope this resonates. Let's talk about Mars or Aries in the 11th house. So 11th house is an Aquarian house of social groups, organizations, religion, groups we belong to, like-minded nature. So the 11th house is the society, right? Also beliefs. I see it as beliefs, community of people who connect with each other, get close with one another, form that organization where they can share their ideas. The problem with this placement though, Mars in the social houses, like air houses, is that they have a tendency to prove their point and what they believe in, religiously, politically, socially speaking, and fighting for themselves, the cause that they believe in. It may be very difficult for them to compromise their ideas, even though they may be outdated, or even to meet another person's ideas if they are divergent from their own. The Aries, right, in the 11th house, fiery placement, that fiery in expression in organizations, getting in fights even over different opinions. It is very, very possible. The thing with the 11th house, right, I have Sun in the 11th, so I know the 11th house energy more than anyone. 11th house is how can we find people who will resonate with us and who we will resonate with. Where is our place in society? What is our group of people we belong to? Like, it's a constant search of yourself and wanting to blend with other people, wanting to blend with a group, but at the same time wanting to stay independent, be different. So that's where this contradiction may come from. Beliefs, wanting to be a part of the collective and contribute to social cause, but unable to compromise your ideas and hear other people out in the group. You need to develop the qualities of Libra for this placement. These people have Libra on the MC. This indicates that in work and public, they're very balanced, easygoing, get along, but as soon as they get home, that's where the Aries qualities come out. They start to argue. Like, even though at work there might have been a lot of triggers and things that I like, but they weren't able to speak up, they will come home and start an argument. So realize that you're playing two different roles, in home and family and in the work. So there should be that balance in integration. It needs to find that ability to compromise, adding more Libra qualities in understanding other people's perspective and not judging them based on what they believe in. And if they disagree with you, not starting an argument. And here is like the instinctive nature of this Mars in this house is to be a part of the group, but actually not be a part of the group. Like, Mars don't want to be there. Because why? Mars is selfish. It's me. But here you're kind of forced to think for other people and accept other people's ideas. It's difficult. So needing to remain independent from a group is very important for these people. And I actually was reading one guy's chart. He had Mars in Aries in the 11th house, conjunct Black Moon Lilith. I'm like, oh my God. a lot of arguments, a lot over religion, over what he believed in. Possible, so remaining independent, not disrupt the social groups, the flow in which it goes, and try to like initiate something. Mars in the 11th, it's important to justify the cause in what you believe in. Otherwise, it won't make sense. Like something you're passionate about is what unites you with other people, but there should be a meaning as to why you're doing things, because it's important with this placement to take action on your beliefs. But if your beliefs are not coming from the right place, the actions will be detrimental. Okay, so yeah, but you want to help society to be assertive, like this, like in a more positive sense. If you use this placement correctly, that's gonna make you, apply that assertion, be a boss or the leader of the organization, or even teach other people how to be managers and how to communicate, how to direct other people, because it's a bossy energy right here. Let's Mars or Aries in the 12th house. Your last house, it's a Neptunian house. Pisces belongs to Pisces. It's the most misunderstood and kind of blurry. It's all over the place. There's no solid, nothing energy. It's like collective, but the unconscious part of the collective, let me put it this way. And imagine having Mars or Aries in the 12th house. That's crazy. It's like so much aggression and rage, and you don't even understand where it's coming from. You feel so much darkness, because 12th house is also death, and Neptune is illusions, so it adds that, because Mars wants to express itself well, right? That being assertive, that being confident, which usually, take an initiative on something, on their ideas, on their passions, without consulting and asking other people how to do it. 12th house and Mars, needs that intention, needs to be pure, like pure meaning that focus of energy. But when it's in the 12th house of blurriness, illusions, it's like, yeah, you want to change something, but you don't know what to change. You want to do something, but you don't know what to do. It's like ADHD in a way. You just start this, and then 5 minutes later, it's like, oh, I don't want it. Because you don't understand what you don't even understand. Maybe like all out there in your face, annoying you. They're always there. But then they can disappear out of nowhere. And this happens because Neptune is playing with them, right? Neptune is the 12th house, a trick. And that initiative, that action gets halted so that Aries needs to rethink and reprioritize and understand. Because here's the thing, unless you have a clear meaning and slate, emotions, thoughts about what you're doing and what you want to start on, you won't be able to continue, or some obstacles will come out, unpredictable, something you can't foresee, which is the 12th house. It's not that it's unpredictable, it's like something you did not see before will come out, and you will start seeing it because it's illusions, it's Neptune. You'll realize, oh, I can't do that, but you were so passionate about it. But had you thought it through, it would have been different. So 1 minute they're here and another minute they're not here. So they are kind of confused by their own emotional states. They have this dissatisfaction, like something is not right, but they may not put a finger on it, understand where it's coming from or what it is. So that might be the problem, an issue with these people. So the thing is that these people can be either assertive, yes, taking action, but also there's another side of that placement which can manifest in trying to make other people do the thing for you, because you're just dissatisfied, you're just very pessimistic, and bending other people to your wills because you can't take a particular action. That's not how you should be using these energies, by the way. Also, you may repress your anger. Again, anger in the 12th house is hidden. You may elude yourself about whether you're angry or not, and not understand that you're actually angry, because you learned how to repress it so well, because that the repressed anger, you're activating it in other people, and only then you get calm. When you see that rage in other people that you projected because you're repressing it, because you can't own it, you're used to doing that, and other people will show you that very thing. That's the everyone is you pushed out, Neville Goddard, the logical astrology. It will show you that anger, and it can also play out on the opposite way. You may be carrying, because 12th house is the unconscious of the collective, is the house after the 11th, right? Is the unconscious of that group you belong to. The people, you may be actually accepting other people people's anger, carrying it and expressing it, lashing out or being self-destructive. It may not even be your anger, so realize this. Other people may be projectors, so it can go either way. So with this placement, right, because 12th house is like charities to, organizations, and other people like unconscious, right, collective, be blending with another. That's the main theme for Pisces, Neptune, moving with the collective, with other people. Even though Mars is more selfish and wants to assert its own interests, in the 12th, what will work for these people, and maybe they're already doing that and have these inclinations naturally, that they may be giving their power to the people, or contributing to the greater cause than themselves, which actually gives them that sense of power. So it's a good thing to do that. And again, competitive in winning, approval maybe too. This one will put like aside themselves for other people. I'll help you first, but you help me later, right? But usually it does not result in give and take that they're hoping to get. They get actually pissed and angry after helping and trying and not getting the same in return. So that's where the anger may be, the source of anger may be coming from. You may be taking action, but because of this Neptune quality of this house that makes you like all over the place energetically, mentally, yeah, you may go and fight for something, but realize later that it was at the wrong time with the wrong people. It's Aries in the 12th. Because it's illusions, delusion. Neptune deludes you. And since like it's fiery and passionate, Mars can't be with the feeling, the illusion, and uncover it. It just, whatever comes to mind, impulsively they go and do it, or fight people, argue, make assumptions that are not correct, and then they realize that this was not true because of Neptune. So yeah, I really hope this helps and resonates. Let me know what your rising sign is in the comments, and yeah, what planet would you like me to do next through the houses, because this is Mars. I actually done a lot of them, but I want to redo them. I hope you guys like this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye y'all.